Alright, guys. I don't know who's in charge of NASA or whose idea it was to go back in time to use technology from the 60s to travel into space. Alright? Russia's still been using the same technology since the 60s. We moved on and actually built something that was reusable. Okay? The entire spacecraft was reusable 2 or 3 times before anything had to be put on it. Alright? I'm talking about the shuttle. Okay? Now, I just watched the Orion launch and the subsequent landing 4 hours later. Who's in charge? Seriously. You need to be slapped upside the head with a wiffle ball bat. Don't scratch that. You need to be slapped upside the head with a baseball bat and run over by 300 buses. Fully loaded. With sumo wrestlers. Alright? Honestly, if I was in charge of NASA, okay, so we gotta solve this ice problem. You know, if I was an engineer at NASA and my boss walked in and said, okay, guys, we either gotta design a whole new spacecraft or redesign the shuttle so no ice can form on it ever. I would have immediately just said, yo, idea. Why don't we just reinforce the external fuel tank so we can put blast cord up it? You know, then we could just light the blast cord right before we launch, like a minute and a half before we launch, blast all this ice off, and look at that, no ice on the external fuel tank. External fuel tank is fine. And we still can use our space shuttle. And then just put some thick, dense foam that will burn up no matter what on the wings. Alright? There we go, problem solved. About $1 million to do it. You're welcome. Now, instead of waiting 4 years till the next test flight while we use Russia to get into space, why doesn't NASA do what I just said? Pull the shuttles out of the museums, remodel them, so we can use them for deep space. Yeah, we could have used the shuttles for deep space. Not the best thing, but yeah, we could have used it. Neither were the Apollo capsules. They weren't the best thing for that, but we could have used them. And the size of the space shuttle will increase. You know, considering it's about the same size as the Apollo pods, we could endure a longer period at the moon. You know, and we could have put a landing craft into the cargo bay of the shuttle that was about the same size as the lunar landers. And put like 3 or 4 of them in there. Yeah. Alright? And then we could have went to the moon like 3 or 4 times each trip and done more research. And we could have also, you know, replaced all the flags that we had up there. USA! USA! Because they're all basically white triangles. They don't have anything on them due to solar radiation and stuff. Alright? So, yeah. If you're outraged by this, that we're going to be out of space for 4 more years, call your local congressman now and say, you're all stupid! And bitch and moan until they tell NASA to get their heads out their butts and quit proceeding with this idiocy to create a spacecraft that was around in the 60s. Because I could seriously just say, well, why are we testing this at all? You know, we had this exact same craft in the 1960s. You know, we went to the moon in the 1960s in this exact same craft. You know, we just modernized it with some new, lighter materials. That's about the only thing. Literally. I've looked it up. The only differences between the new craft and the 60s craft is that the 60s was made out of more steel. You know, this has titanium and crap in it. You know, aluminum, titanium, you know, really light but hard metals. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't use carbon fiber. Alright? So, I'm calling NASA later today, and I'm just going to yell at them and tell them they're stupid. Reactivate the shuttles. I'll tell them how to fix the problems, and then they can build 3 new shuttles with that model, and also build the 3 or 4 lunar landers that could fit into the cargo bay, and that we could use to go to the moon. And use the space shuttle as the lunar orbiter. Instead of, you know, sending it down itself. Though I figured that out as well, but it's a little more difficult to land the shuttle than it is to land a lunar lander. Because we've done the lunar lander before. Alright, later!